Nancy Fetzer's Sentence Building, Lesson 8, Extending the Basic Sentence with where, why, how, and fancy words. These are the things that you will need: a pencil, a red crayon, and your basic sentence organizer number 2.
We are ready to begin. Today we will learn how to add more information to a sentence. But first, we need an idea, something to write about. Let's watch this idea about a goose and a boy. Wow, that was exciting! Let's write a sentence that tells about that idea. Have your sentence organizer in front of you. Get into writing position. Follow my steps. Step 1. Plan the basic sentence. Fill in both planning boxes. First, let's go back to the idea. Go to the left planning box and ask, who or what was the idea about? The idea was about 2 characters, a goose and a boy. Oh no! Which one do we choose? We need to ask more questions to figure out which one to choose. Ready? Who or what was the idea about? Who was driving the action? The goose chased the boy. So the goose was driving the action. Draw a quick sketch to show the goose, to show who or what was driving the action in our idea. Excellent work! Next, go to the right planning box and ask, what about the goose? What did the goose do? Chase the boy. The goose chased the boy. Go to the right planning box. Draw a quick sketch to show that idea. Let's draw an arrow pointing at a stick person. That's an easy way to remember chase the boy. Good job! Step 2. Add more information to the sentence. We have many questions to ask about the idea. When, where, why, and how. But first, we need to decide which questions are important. Important questions will be answered and included in our idea. Let's begin. When? When did the goose chase the boy? That's not important, so we won't put that information in our sentence. Skip it. Where? Where did the goose chase the boy? That's important to know where the boy was being chased. The goose chased the boy around the field. Go to the right planning box. Draw some grass to show field. Good job. Why? Why did the goose chase the boy around the field? Draw a feather to show that the boy plucked a feather from the goose. Excellent job! How? The how question describes how something happened. How did the goose chase the boy around the field? We could say wildly chased or quickly chased. Which one describes the action chased best? Wildly. Wildly works best because it reveals a fast action and it reveals how angry the goose was at the boy for plucking its feather. The goose wildly chased the boy around the field because he plucked its feather. In the right planning box, write wildly above the arrow. Wonderful job! Step 3. Add fancy words. The magic shaker reminds us to add fancy words to the important parts of a sentence. Go to each box in the planner. Put an X on who or what you think is important to the sentence. The goose. Goose is important because that is who the sentence is mostly about. Who is driving the action? Put an X by the goose. Wildly chase the boy around the field because he plucked its feather. Boy, field, and feather can be described in this part of the sentence. That's a lot to describe. Good writers only choose the most important parts of a sentence to describe. The boy and the feather are important to understand about this idea. Put an X by boy and by feather. Add fancy words. After we decide who or what is important in a sentence, we then go back and add fancy words to the parts we marked with an X. Go to the goose. Ask the fancy word question. What kind of goose would wildly chase after a boy who plucked its feather? We can describe what the goose looks like, fat, or we can describe using a feeling word like angry. Always choose describing words that describe the important information about the idea. The goose chased the boy because the boy plucked its feather. In this idea, what the goose is feeling is much more important to describe than what it looks like. Write angry by the X. Go to the next X in our planning boxes and ask the fancy words question. What kind of boy would pluck a feather from a goose? A naughty boy. That matches the idea. The boy is naughty because he plucked the goose's feather. Write naughty by the X. Amazing job! Super work! Go to the last X in our planning boxes and ask the fancy words question. What kind of feather did the boy pluck from the goose? A big feather. That matches the idea. Write big by the X. Amazing job! Super work! Step 4. Plan for the capital and stop. Every sentence starts with a capital, and every sentence ends with a stop. Every sentence starts with a capital, and every sentence ends with a stop. Go back to the planner. Say the sentence. Then write the first word of the sentence in the left box. And mark a period in the right box to show that's where the sentence begins and ends. The, capital T, H, E. The angry goose wildly chased after the naughty boy around the field because he plucked its feather. Period. That's where the sentence stops. It's editing time! Grab your red crayon. Trace the capital T and the period to check that you have a capital and stop in the planning boxes. Good job! Step 5. Now it's time to write the sentence.
You've planned. You've talked. Now it's time to write. Please remember, if you have the skills, then you write it. If you are still learning the skills, then a helper writes it for you.
Say the words as you write. The angry goose wildly chased after the naughty boy around the field because he plucked its big feather. It's editing time! Grab your red crayon. Trace the capital T and the period to check that you have a capital and stop in the sentence. Fabulous job! You have a complete sentence that tells all about the idea. You are ready to point and read your sentence. Go back and say the whole sentence. The angry goose wildly chased after the naughty boy around the field because he plucked its big feather. Read it again. The angry goose wildly chased after the naughty boy around the field because he plucked its big feather. Oh my goodness! Excellent job! That sentence tells all about the idea. Congratulations! You have written a complete sentence that tells what the idea was about. Plus, you added where, why, how, and fancy words to make a powerful sentence. Yay! Pat yourself on the back. You have finished Lesson 8. And after you finish your homework page, then you are ready to move on to Lesson 9.